the chief job of the President of the United States is national security. Yep. President Biden is failing at national security. We are extraordinarily concerned about a terrorist attack occurring in Texas or elsewhere in the United States because of the terrorists who are crossing our border at will, Governor, unstopped by the Biden administration.
New Border Patrol data shows migrant encounters continuing at a near-record pace in March. Authorities apprehended 137,000 migrants at the southern border last month. That marks a slight drop from February's total, but it's still far above the average prior to Biden's tenure. I want to bring in Ray Donovan, former DEA chief of operations. Here's one of the things that Governor Abbott said yesterday about drones that they're seeing at the southern border.
Absolutely.
Let me foreshadow also another concern we're going to have really soon. This are kind of beginning right now, and that's going to be drone wars. The capability of the cartels about getting things across the border through drones already is extraordinary, and they're going to be more aggressive, more sophisticated in the drone attacks. We can sustain a drone attack anytime. What do you know about the drones that he's talking about?
So the drones that we have seen at the border first started around 2015. Was transporting and smuggling heroin into the country. More recently, we're seeing thousands of flights across the southwest border, primarily used for intelligence gathering, surveillance, reconnaissance, but also largely used to smuggle fentanyl and methamphetamine into the country.
Yeah, the next question we asked on interview is whether or not he thinks ISIS has already penetrated our southern border and whether or not ISIS is already here. He didn't go that far. But he did say the terrorists will pay extra not to get caught. Yeah, now, I don't know how you interpret that, but to me, that's a pretty strong indication that they're trying, at a minimum.
No, it absolutely is. I think law enforcement primary concern is the number of gotaways that got into the country, whether they're criminal groups and networks, whether they're terrorists, or they could possibly be intelligence agents, and what are their intentions.
On the drug portion of this, one of the things that, as I understand it, the cartels use the drones to figure out how to get the drugs across the border in a way that's secure. Just a question. I don't know what the answer is. I think it might be no. But legally, does the United States have the right to shoot a drone like that out of the sky?
Yes, it does. And the drones that are utilized to transport across the border are not just for the drugs. It's also doing surveillance on our own agents, looking for gaps to smuggle migrants in and looking to determine patterns of when agents will be in certain locations. So they really utilize the technology to their advantage. Yeah, and it continues to increase.
And about 2 weeks ago, here's a hearing in Washington, an Air Force general on March 14th talking about that. Watch it.
The overall majority of the activity that they see, the incursions, are spotters trying to find gaps, finding out where we are so they can be where we aren't. Mm-hmm. That's the majority. There's a smaller number that are probably moving narcotics across the border. And then
the drones themselves.
That's right, Senator.
You know of this. What are we doing about it?
What we're doing about it is just really pursuing it. I think the issue, as stated in that testimony, is being able to track them and the radar and the capabilities. Anytime that we lock in on a drone, the cartels are going to pivot as well. And they fly lower and lower. So there are challenges. It's a cat and mouse game constantly. But our agents are privy to the methodologies that the cartels are deploying to do that. So we'll continue to fight them.
Why wouldn't we just shoot them down?
Well, you got to find them. There are things such as frequency jammers and other detection devices. It's not as easy just to shoot them down as one would think.
Well, we got to get them. Right?
Yeah.
I think you'd agree with us. Ray Donovan, thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you.
Former DEA Chief of Operations. Thanks.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.